Now I'm going to get something to.
All right, you want to go outside? Let's go outside, okay? We'll go out this door. Come on. Come on. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
good. Oh, good. Okay.
I'm wolfing down dinner.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna respond to a text.
Okay,
Might go get an Advil.
I'm gonna mute.
Okay.
Marianne, are you going to share the disclaimer? I don't know what happened to it.
There she is. Okay.
I kept saying hi, Michelle, and you weren't responding. I realized, oh, I'm still muted.
Yeah, I'm looking at your minutes. I'm making edits as I go here. Just technical things.
Oh, okay.
I put a hyphen in between fund and raising, but I'll
Okay.
wait till the
Yeah.
meeting.
My room's kind of dark, but it was so bright with the overhead on.
No, it looks fine. You look good.
Oh,
You're
all
looking good.
All right.
Let's see.
Actually, I might move the lamp up here. I think that might be better.
Oh, yeah. She left. Oh, there she is.
I'm
Rearranging
here.
the room. Are you there, Michelle? No.
I think she's getting a lamp.
I couldn't see the paper or the notes or anything because it was too dark. It's getting so
Oh,
dark
I
out. I
see.
think we are going to get some bad weather.
We
Yes,
need
Michelle?
rain,
Did you-
though.
Tonight we're
Yeah,
supposed to get
we
bad
do.
weather?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope it's a
Yeah.
lot of rain.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope
no
we all
lightning
are
green
ready.
is fine.
Yeah.
Did you have something, Michelle?
I guess we're not ready to start. Are we ready to start?
No, we're the only
No,
ones here
no,
so
let's wait. I'll wait because,
Okay,
you know,
okay.
that way.
I tried to use yours as a model because as a special ed team liaison, I always took pretty detailed notes, and I did when I was when I was the secretary too. And I'm like, okay,
Oh, no, your
not gonna,
model is fine. That's
um,
fine.
I'm
Absolutely
not gonna
fine.
do it. So even though I had a ton of notes, I tried to do it like synthesize because, like, you know,
You're
Did you
good at that and
see
I'm not.
the letter of intent that I just sent out?
I
both
did.
of
I
you?
just was having trouble
Okay.
with my printer, so I haven't had a chance to
Okay.
read it yet.
I
Okay.
have to find that now. Let me get that.
Okay.
Letter of intent. Okay. Okay.
Well, this is good. Let's see, who's this? Oh, me. I'm meeting host. Okay. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's not 7:30 yet. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, there's Melanie. Good.
Well, it's a lot to read. Is there some place that you want feedback more than another?
Yes, there's one clunky paragraph.
Are we
Um,
doing that now?
I
Okay.
think it's really good. And so this is something, so Melanie, did you see the letter of intent?
Is that what we're looking at?
You're still muted, Melanie.
Sorry,
Melanie-
the blender's on. 1 second.
And I love your glasses, Melanie.
All right, let's see, where is it?
Sorry, the blender was on. So I did see the letter of intent. Am I late for this meeting? Was it
No.
due 7?
No.
I was,
good.
no,
Okay.
I just
All
wanted
right.
to know what to read for the letter of intent. We just got it. I just was having
All
trouble
right.
with my printer, so I just am now printing it out and looking at it for the first time.
It's
So the-
it's great. Did you write this? Did you have?
I had help because so the information is mine, and some of the words are mine, and some of the sentences are mine. But at first, I sent it off to my friend Jen Davies, who's a technical
Oh.
writer,
Right.
and so I always send it off to her because she's my friend and she has to help me. And she's also a former trustee and she really wants us to have a library. And then I sent it to Kate Sell, who's a writer. And then I got it back from Kate Sell and I accepted all the changes, and then the one place that I wanted you to look at is the about the library section. So, and then I
Okay.
also sent it to Molly Moss, who is she's also a former trustee and she's the she's the assistant director of the Forbes Library and has a lot of grant writing experience. And she suggested some stuff. So Melanie, I wanted you to look at the wording in the about the library section
Okay.
from where it says, so Shutesbury, about halfway down, Shutesbury is a community of active, engaged library users. So I had it up to circulation has increased 37% in the last 10 years and 15% in the last 5 years. I got those numbers using formulas that Tim Logan gave me. And then the next part I wrote today, because Molly suggested that those were impressive statistics, but it feels clunky to me. And so I wanted to see what you thought of the wording and if you had any suggestions for making it look better. And see if you understand what I said.
Despite the lack of facilities, that paragraph?
No, before that, where it says total circulation for each of the past
Okay.
5 years.
Okay, yeah, I agree it is clunky and I'm trying to understand it. So maybe you can
Okay.
explain it to help be able to help
Okay.
you.
So Molly thought that it was impressive that our circulation is 3 times the size of the collection. And so I looked at the circulation for the past 5 years,
Mhm.
and for each of the past 5 years, and it may go back even further, our circulation is more than 3 times the size of the collection. So our collection is 12,000 items and the circulation is 36,000 items or more.
Mhm.
So maybe there's a better way of saying that. And then the next sentence, and I'm waiting for data from the MBLC before we can really include this, but so compared to other libraries in the Commonwealth in our population group, so should there be another comma after Commonwealth? Circulation is high. And in fiscal year 2020, Shutesbury circulation was the second highest. And I'll fully admit that I never ever know where to put a comma. I smatter them in, here and there, where they
Yeah,
look
yeah, I
nice.
would say the comma after Commonwealth.
You would say a comma after
Yeah,
Commonwealth?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I also think you need to say in the fiscal year, Shutesbury circulation was the second highest in the state or the
Yeah,
Commonwealth.
I
whatever
agree
you
with
wanna
that too.
say. Yeah,
In the
but
Commonwealth?
the part that I find confusing is the circulation has increased 37% in the last 10 years and 15% in the last 5. So why do we have that in there if it's dropped?
Well, it hasn't dropped. It's continued to grow.
The way that sentence is written, then that it sounds like it's dropped. So there must be another way to say that. Does anybody else see what I'm saying?
Well, you're
Well,
assuming.
you know what?
confusing.
So what if we just do 37% in the last 10 years, period?
Yeah, I think that makes more sense because otherwise it's a little confusing.
All right. That
Um,
made it through Jen Davies and Kate Sell, but I'm happy to take it out.
So does everybody want to take a few minutes to read it? Because we have to do the minutes and all that stuff. And we have to do the COVID statement and that kind of thing. You want to take a few minutes just to read it, everybody? Because do people need time to read it? You want a thumbs up if you need to read it?
I can read it as we go. It's
Okay.
easier for me to do it that way, actually.
Okay. Okay.
Do we want to back up and
Yeah, I think so. Because there
Right.
isn't a lot to talk about before that. So if anybody wants to read and sort of half listen to the rest. So Marianne, do you want to do the COVID disclaimer?
So the COVID disclaimer, we are meeting online because we're still in a pandemic and we are still allowed to because the state legislature voted to extend virtual meetings for public bodies. Certainly through the rest of this year, but I think it even goes into 2022. And I'll send you out the date, before the next meeting. And the meeting's being recorded so that people who aren't able to attend can watch the recording after the fact.
Cool.
Excellent.
All right. So then we just need to look at the April minutes. I know Michelle already had some
Yeah, let me
edits,
put
but
that up.
but you weren't here, so technically, I mean, they're just
Oh, I'm
technical
not
things,
technically able to edit
right?
because
If
of
it's
that.
like a hyphen or something or a
I
comma,
think you
that's
can
okay.
edit. You can edit them.
But anyway,
Definitely edit them out.
right?
Yeah. I just, well, as I was going through, I just a second bullet, fundraising. I just put a hyphen in there. We've had continuing for the past 7 years. Okay, it looks like
Oh,
whatever
okay.
I had for that got changed already.
I didn't change anything.
I'm gonna back up then.
Anybody have any comments about I was saying at the beginning before you all got here that I was trying to follow Michelle's model because as a former special education team liaison, my notes are always way detailed. And I know sometimes when I was the secretary, they were too detailed. So I was trying to follow Michelle's because, a lot of the stuff Miriam was reporting in her report. And even though I had notes on it, it was more for myself. I didn't need to reiterate what she said in her director's report. So,
Well, I guess what I was thinking on that first paragraph. Yeah, you did it fine. The imitation is fine. I think you just, that's perfect. It says, trust. It's a long sentence. Okay. Yeah, it's very long. It's one sentence. Okay, because you have due to the library small size, due to small size twice.
you know what? I didn't proof these, so anything you need to fix is fine.
Okay, so let's see how that would look better. Warrant.
Okay.
Mary Ann and a couple of community, how the needs of the community
Oh,
have,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
get rid of need, has been impacted by the pandemic period. Um, oh, due to the library's small size, the lack of water to wash one's hands, and having to limit in-person browsing.
Yeah, it's just like a phrase, actually. It can't stand by itself unless we add something else.
Oh, no, it's a sentence. Well, needs of the community have been impacted, fix that,
Mm-hmm.
by the pandemic due to the library's small size, the lack of water to wash one's hands, having to limit in-person browsing. And should we say lack of a toilet?
Well, it is a composting toilet.
Okay, we'll leave that. And so I'll say and having, and I'll take the comma out, okay?
Okay.
And having to limit in-person browsing. Okay.
We could just make fundraising, take the and out of there. The second bullet, just put fundraising efforts will continue to be ongoing.
How about we've had contributions for the past 10 years, which is an enormous show of support instead of continuing. You could say substantial. I don't know. I'm not married to that. If you like the continuing, you listening, Michelle?
Yeah, it's just kind of, I just took Marianne's language out of my notes, and that's what I
Okay,
put there.
all
So
right. We want the impact on the town's finances to be as little as possible. Yeah, that's good. Possible and further potential. Oh, that's confusing. Let's see. In other words, all right, so does that mean that the land will be the cost of the land will be taken out of that money?
No, it
No.
means it counts towards our contribution.
right.
Towards our
So-
contribution.
Right, so the town of Shutesbury is responsible for 25% of the construction costs plus the ineligible cost, and the value of the land counts towards our contribution. So our contribution doesn't have to be all cash.
Right.
Are you talking about the library hour or the town hour? Whose hour?
The town hour.
Okay, so we might as well leave it the town's.
Town's
Okay.
contribution. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's confusing. So maybe it should say the value of the land is part of the equation. Are we paying for the land? Money?
No, not if we use town-owned land.
Okay, so should we say the value of the land for the potential site for a new library is part of the equation towards the town's contribution of 25%? Is that true?
Yeah, I wouldn't say part of the equation. I would just say the value of the land can be part of the town's contribution. Just keep it simple.
Can be part of. That's
Yeah.
just keep it simple. Okay.
Yeah,
Part of the what?
the town's contribution.
Okay.
I like the math language though, Michelle.
I just wrote down what Marianne said. That's all I can say.
Part of the
All right.
equation. Yes, good.
I
Right.
like the equation, but I'm not married to it, so it's okay. Are there any other edits?
No.
Okay.
Not for me.
Somebody want to make a motion?
We approve the meeting. I mean, I move the minutes. I move we approve the minutes.
Second,
Okay.
right.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay. Aye. Great.
Okay.
Do we want to debrief from the town meeting or deal with your town meeting or deal with the letter of intent first, as that's a bigger deal? Sounds like it went well from what I heard,
Oh, that's right. You weren't there. I think everybody was there, right?
except me.
Tim was there. Savannah was,
I talked to some neighbors and it sounded like it went really well, so.
it did. Only one person spoke against it.
Mhm. Yep.
And it
That's what I
really
heard.
felt like, well, only one person spoke against it. And then so far, I've only heard that one person voted against it.
Really?
Did
That's
anybody
great.
see
I
anyone?
did not hear anyone speak against it. I must have been not listening well. Who didn't? Well, I just don't remember that. Not that we want to mention
Mike
names.
Vinsky spoke against it,
Oh,
and Mike
okay.
Vinsky voted no.
Okay.
But other than that, I didn't notice anybody else voting no. And so far, nobody else I've spoken to has noticed anyone else voting no. So
That's what I've
I-
heard from two different sets of neighbors, so yeah.
yeah, so there was a lot of enthusiasm and kindness and support
Wish I
for
could
the
have been there.
library
Yeah, that's great.
that day. So
Yeah.
so that's, it's really good. And then the tag sale the next day was over the top, extra. The tag sale was extra. So
That's great.
um so yeah.
Okay, all right. If people had a chance to glance, you want to take a few more minutes to read the letter of intent? I can't imagine with all the technical
So
writers that
you're
have read
muted,
it.
Melanie.
With all the technical writers that have read it, I can't imagine that there's too much that wasn't clear at this point, but.
Right. It's like, do you understand it all? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if is this our only chance to give any feedback, or could I take this and read it more carefully and give you feedback like tomorrow, or?
So ideally, the select board would get this tomorrow at 5 to sign.
Okay,
So if you can get me feedback, by noon tomorrow,
okay,
okay?
Yep.
So Melanie is another really good writer. And so that, like I don't know about the rest of your writing experience or skills, but I've seen Melanie in action now. So, but so the people who have looked at this are Jen Davies, and then Kate Sell and Molly Moss. And then that section that we were talking about, I also sent that off to Molly because she's the one who suggested those statistics be added. So I sent that off to her to see what she thinks. And
Mhm.
then down at the end, the other part, that let's see, is so the other part is under the community services. Okay. 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 Under community services, which is near the end, I think it's on the left, it's the second to last page.
Mhm.
I added in, so there's the second paragraph, in palaces for the people, blah, blah, blah. And then I think Kate wrote COVID tested Shutesbury as no other event has. And then the library has provided a tether for many isolated residents. And then I wrote just today, when townspeople were faced with isolation, the library reinvented its services. Programming was quickly moved online, creating a virtual space for friends and neighbors to connect. Story walks were assembled and installed in 3 locations. Digital resources were expanded, and the physical collection was available through curbside pickup. And then Kate wrote, when the virtual once again becomes communal, the library is poised to answer. So anyway, if like that whole section could use, like I'd like feedback on that. Do you understand it? Does it make sense?
Yep.
And then should the word library be capitalized or
I
not?
was, I was going
or-
to ask
Or
that same
capitalized sometimes and not capitalized other times. And I could send it to Janice Gray, except that I'm reluctant to do that because she's not well these days.
Mhm.
So
So-
and Janice Gray is our best sort of copy editor.
My
Um,
understanding would only be capitalized when you're using the title of our specific library. Otherwise, I think it's supposed to be lowercase. You're just saying the library. You're not saying the I'm in Spear Library.
So that's what so I can just do that. My guess is that if I asked Janice the question, she would tell me it's a matter of style. Only because I've asked her this question several times recently.
Okay.
I
not
like it
grammar.
capitalized if you have a choice,
And
because it's important. I like it capitalized.
you
if
like it
there's a
capitalized.
If there's a choice.
So what I will do is I will ask Janice, and just about capitalizing library. And then,
Yeah.
and then I think I'll make it consistent either. And I've always sort of thought, like, when we're talking about our library, even if you're
Mhm.
talking about a specific library, then it's capital L. And if you're talking about any library, then it's lowercase l. And I could go through, I don't think they're gonna choose us to move forward based on whether or not library is capitalized. Oh, what
No,
do you think,
they won't.
Brad? Brad's
Um,
good at this
I
too.
have some comments
Okay,
as soon as there's a gap. Is this a good time? Okay.
sure.
Right at the top, statement of need, current facility. I read that first sentence and I sort of stumbled a bit. And I took the words and basically I took out a few. So I was going to send this to you. And I could do it
That's the MBLC's template, actually.
well, here's
So,
what I said.
okay,
The Shutesbury Library facility of 768 square feet was constructed in 1902 and subsequently expanded, renovated in 2008. I just removed some words that felt unnecessary.
right. And so they actually sent a template, and Kate changed the formatting, and I was gonna go back and put it in their template after the fact. So that's actually their language. And
Okay,
I'm gonna use their
that's fine.
language for that
Another
part.
one down in the section fostering literacy.
Uh-huh.
Do a handful of kids really read 20 to 40 chapter books a week? 3 to 6 a day?
Yep.
Okay. Moving down to community services, the top paragraph. There's the athletic club.
It's not public.
Well, neither are fitness clubs, movie theaters, or coffee shops.
That's true. But well, movie theaters and coffee shops are not members only organizations. I
Right.
guess fitness clubs
But
are.
I've never,
So how should we put the athletic club in?
I mean, we
let's
could
see.
say with the exception of one private club.
Okay. I mean, the athletic club is really a bar.
Yeah, I thought of that too. I mean, in both cases, a private club, a private bar, really contrasts it to what the library is.
Okay, I like that. So here's what I put: with the exception of a private bar, the only public gathering place is the library. And we don't have to call it the Shutesbury Athletic Club, or should we?
Right. I don't think we need
Okay.
to.
I don't think we
Alright.
need to.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of deceiving.
Saying what it is, I think, is better than the title.
I
Okay.
agree. Yeah.
I mean, it's a private bar.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay.
That's-
Alrighty.
Going
Okay.
down further, there's the section that starts ongoing town financial support. And just above that, in the paragraph above that, there's a sentence that seems incomplete. By the end of the century, 2 full weeks with heat indexes above 100 degrees. By the end of the century, there were 2 full weeks.
There will be.
There
I don't
will
know
be.
where that is. I'm lost.
Oh, yeah, it does. It just does seem like a phrase. It doesn't really,
It's on page 3,
Oh,
towards the
page 3.
bottom, second to last paragraph, towards the bottom of the paragraph. Above ongoing town financial support. About 3 lines above that.
So,
Yeah, that's not.
all right, so if we, after the next 15 to 45 years, if we put comma and then a lowercase b, does it work?
But one recent study projects, comma,
oh, what about with
Yeah.
possibly, with 2 full index, 2 full weeks? I don't know. Do we need to have by the end of the century?
Well, that's when it is. So it's,
how about next 15 to 45 years, comma, and 2 full weeks with heat index above 100 degrees by the end of the century.
okay,
Yeah, that works
Okay.
better.
Yep.
I
all
like
right,
that.
okay, let me do that. Don't go anywhere. I just have to turn the light on. Stay right there.
We're leaving.
Nobody move.
We're
Okay.
out of here.
All right, okay, but, and then, all right, then, let's see. All right, so next 15 to 45 years, comma, 2 full weeks.
Keep going to the end of 100
Oh,
degrees.
Hang on a second, I'm doing the wrong thing. All right, and then we're taking away, let's see. All right. Next 15 to 45 years, and then, all right,
Comma, and then take the by the end of the century and put it at the end of the sentence.
all right. So after 100 degrees, comma, by the end of the century. Let me
Don't
look
need
at
a
it.
comma. I don't think you need a comma after 100 degrees.
Yeah, no
We
comma.
do or we
but
don't?
No.
Not.
Okay,
But you
All
also
right.
need a with. Next 15 to 45 years, comma, with
With,
2
right.
full weeks.
Yeah, that works.
okay,
Although then you have 2
Or
widths
maybe
in the
Yeah,
sentence.
with.
2 full weeks.
Just move the width.
2 full
And
weeks
is good.
heat
And
index,
is fine.
There.
and
How about a semicolon and then say 2 full weeks with heat index above 100 by the end
oh,
of
I
the
love
century?
semicolons, they make people look smart.
Yeah.
All right, there we go, okay.
Was it supposed to be a colon? No, I'm kidding. Kidding. Kidding.
I don't
Kidding.
think it is. All right, yeah, okay.
I'm not changing my copy.
All righty, okay, so that's good, okay,
those were
Right.
the ones that I had flagged.
okay, okay. My Word program, so I did these edits up at the library because I really prefer working at a desktop, and now I'm home on my laptop, and the Word program on my laptop wants all the libraries to be lowercase, but I'm gonna address that tomorrow.
Computers don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're
No.
talking about.
Yes,
I
okay,
have some questions when there's an appropriate break.
okay,
Now's good.
sure.
Uh, The first is where does this letter go? Who's the audience?
This letter is going to Andrea Stara, no, let's see, Lauren Stara and Andrea, whatever her last name is. I do know her last name. They're the construction consultants at the Board of Library Commissioners. And so this letter is going to the construction team at the Board of Library Commissioners.
And I'm coming at this less from a perspective of getting through the bits and pieces, but more from the perspective of what does it do for our chances of success. So in my mind, I'm asking, okay, who would be the nearest potential competition? What does this have in it, in its content, that might make us be a step ahead of the competition, that might make our needs look better uh, are we looking at this in terms of how it can be best used as a tool to leverage our chances to get this? And that's my question.
All right, and so the things that are in there that make this a competitive, if this were a grant application, are the fact that we already passed the warrant article at town meeting granting permission for us to apply for this grant. Nobody else has that. The fact that we have more than $500,000 saved for a new library through the course of, 10 years of grassroots effort. Nobody else has that. And then our circulation statistics. And I'm only aware of one other town that's potentially applying, and they do not have the town meeting warrant. They do not have money in the bank, and their circulation is about a third of ours.
Hmm.
But I don't think I should put, and by the way, if you compare us to Otis, you'll notice that their circulation is much lower than ours.
And
yeah.
and you know the individuals that will primarily be reading this?
Mhm.
Okay, so you have a good sense of the impact the letter will have on them and how they'll.
I do. I think that I think the letter tells a story of a town that really uses its library and will really use a new library, and a town that's really been working hard towards achieving a new library for a long time.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think the letter's great. I'm just thinking about as much leverage as we can get. And the other half of my thinking is there anything in here that anyone feels that someone who has a negative attitude towards the library might pull out? And for example, when I read the section on heat and climate, okay, I can easily see somebody having a negative reaction like that to that, something along the lines of what you want to provide air conditioning for everybody, that kind of thing. I don't think that way. That's not my viewpoint, but I'm wondering if there's anything in here that anybody sees that might potentially be used to bite us in the butt. And I feel like during the process, we should always kind of try to be a little bit aware of that.
I just want to say, Tim, that often when we have these really hot days, on the news, they talk about a lot of the Springfield libraries being cooling centers. So it's a public building. So I think it's, I think it's fine personally.
Okay.
It's sort of the reality. We don't have a lot of places for cooling. I know they sometimes offer the town hall, or they have in the past. I don't know what they're going to do now, but
They've done it like once.
yeah.
So this letter is about getting us a grant. This letter isn't about changing minds in Shutesbury.
Okay.
Yeah, and although this will be like presented to the select board tomorrow night, it's so that's one thing. This the audience that this is for, and when we do go into that design, if we are selected and we go into that design phase, I think these kinds of like community readiness and resiliency and being able to serve the town in that way is going to be really important to include in our design.
That is
whether people want it or not, they're going to need it. So, and I had a story in here. So a few years ago, there was one of those really, really hot days. It was a Sunday and it was really, really hot. And I think I told whoever was working that day to open up at 2 o'clock. I would do that. I've done that, say once a summer, twice a summer. I've said, we're going to open up an hour early or stay open an hour later because it's going to be really hot. And so there was one Sunday when it was just one of those really ridiculously hot days. And somebody came into the library and was laying down on the floor in one of the aisles, just, recovering from the heat, enjoying the air conditioning. And I had that story in there and Jen Davies cut it. But
That sounds like a really powerful story.
yeah,
So is there a certain length that this can't go beyond? Is that why she cut that?
she thought it sounded creepy. And
It is a little creepy, actually. I
and,
agree with that.
I
and
mean,
and I
I mean, you wouldn't have to say they laid down on the floor, right? You could say that they came in and they needed.
But I think we said that, I think we did say that it sometimes acts as a cooling center.
Yeah.
And the folks at the Board of Library Commissioners get this,
Yeah.
that what they want to know is, do we get it? And so like, have we made a case to the Board of Library Commissioners that we know the role of the library in the community now, we know the potential role of the library in the future, and that we can actually do it? Like, they could work with us and make it happen.
Yep.
And I actually think even if we had sent them what I wrote without sending it off to the really good writers, it still looked like we could make it happen.
Mhm.
It
I have a
just looked
question.
promise.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Sorry,
that's
go
okay.
ahead.
That's
Um,
all. Just
So in that same section where we're talking about heat, the paragraph that starts, the library has functioned as an unofficial cooling center. These
Yep.
are minor comments. So
all right. Where are we, Brad?
The above ongoing town financial
Okay.
support, in that whole paragraph. that
Okay.
starts, the library has functioned as an unofficial cooling center. So these are minor points now. In the second sentence, it is the only public building in town with air conditioning. I think we could stop there. The rest of it's okay. I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, we don't
The
need
part
that
in
silver
parentheses.
lining. We don't need
That's
silver.
not true, because doesn't town hall have air conditioning?
Town hall does not have air conditioning in public spaces. Some
Oh,
of the offices are air conditioned, and then last summer, not last summer, the summer before the pandemic, for the first time ever, they threw in a couple of air conditioners down in the basement, a couple of old used air conditioners down in the basement during some really hot days.
oh, I do remember the exercise classes and all we have was a fan. Now I
Right.
remember. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um,
think I agree. I don't know that the thing in the parentheses is really necessary.
So Kate Sell put that in.
Yeah.
And
Aye.
so go ahead and take a vote.
Oh,
I mean, you don't really have to vote, but I think it gives it a little bit of flavor.
It does, I agree. I would say it's unnecessary, but it adds flavor.
Okay.
I would
And so
agree with
why
that.
not?
I would
What do you-
agree with that it's not necessary, but it's interesting.
Okay.
But I don't, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna die on that hill, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
like, has to go.
And then
I don't see the need for it at all.
All right. So if we were voting, if you could just, with a show of hands, if you would think it really has to go or something, go ahead and raise your hands if we were voting on such small things.
That
It's
it
fine,
really
it's
has to
fine.
go.
Yeah,
It's the-
really,
okay.
all right, it has to go. All in favor? Nobody's saying it has to go.
Yes,
not
Yeah.
even me, and I brought it up.
I'm rather ambivalent. I could go either way.
Yeah, me too. So, I mean, I'm not
Okay.
Yeah, I
gonna.
don't think it has to go.
Okay,
Here's another one of the same level,
okay, let me get
Oh,
there. All right, so
goody.
we're keeping that lives. Okay, all right.
So then we have, it's like two sentences that are all about heat. And we end with two more sentences that are all about heat. And I think those are redundant. We could take the top two or the bottom two. The bottom two starts with, by the end of the century, as climate change accelerates. In fact, it's just the last sentence. As climate change accelerates, we foresee a population risk. We've already said that. And I mean, this is only if we feel we need to tighten it. I don't know that it's necessary at all. If you ask me to vote, I wouldn't say take it out.
We do need a conclusion to the paragraph.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I agree with Brad. I don't really, I mean, I understand where it probably came from, but I don't know that it really is necessary for this library letter of intent. 'Cause
Well, I like
think we've
the,
already said it. We've already said that there, we don't have spaces in town where people can get cool. And we have
right,
such
but
a
we don't
small
say
space,
anything
not many
about,
people can come. Hmm?
we don't say anything about them getting warm. So it gives an opportunity to put that, it closes the paragraph and gives an opportunity to say it's a winter problem too.
Right. It summarizes and then it says, oh,
That's
and
true.
and then
I
the
think
less predictable winter weather as well.
Okay,
I'm keeping it.
I take
Okay,
it back.
okay.
So you
All right.
guys, this is what Liftneck was like every month, right, Marianne? Or did we meet every 2
Yes.
weeks? Yes, it was like every single one was like this.
Yes, okay.
Can I ask you a question,
yeah.
Marianne? I'm not saying this should be in there, but I'm surprised that there isn't more discussion in the letter about the fact that there isn't running water, that like the public health impact of that. And I'm just
I-
wondering why you didn't include that, because to me, like, that's such a, I mean, yeah, there's no running water and you can like, the dotted lines are there. Like, that's obvious. People would be like, oh my God, there's no running water. I mean, maybe it's so obvious, nothing needs to be said.
We
But-
say it
I
3
think it
times.
is, it is
But there's-
said,
It's more
right?
than no
No,
running water. There's
it
no water,
is said,
period.
but in
Yeah.
terms of the like really explicit, like the public health impact of not having
I
any running
know.
water.
I think they know that, and I think we say that there's no running water. And I
Oh,
think
you
it-
definitely do. But
yeah, and I think it really focuses on it doesn't just so in the last grant application, which I've been looking at quite a bit recently, it kind of whines a little bit, right? And this
mhm,
doesn't sound whiny. This
Right.
sounds like,
Matter
Actual.
of fact.
Yeah. it's
you
very-
know, wow,
Yeah.
these guys really know about all this stuff and look at
Mhm.
all they're doing and they're working so hard and they're gonna they need a new library. Like
Yeah.
our need for a new library is the fact that we use the library so
Right,
much.
right.
The water is just gonna be bonus.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you're right. I just wonder, I don't think it's whining to say that it's like, especially
I
during a
know.
pandemic.
I
it's
had
been-
more stuff
it's
about COVID
dangerous.
in there
But
too.
where would
and-
it go though? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
I don't-
Trying
I'm
to
not
find
sure,
where it
but I
is
just-
now.
I mean, it's not just like gross and inconvenient, right? It's dangerous.
yeah, during a pandemic, yeah.
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 Or flu
So
season.
I don't know. I mean, if everyone looked at this and didn't think that it needed to be in there, then
So here are the 3 spots. First page in the paragraph, in the section about the library,
Mhm.
3rd line down, second.
Right.
The building still
Yep.
lacks running water.
Yes. Mhm.
I would say instead of the still, it actually makes it more boom. The building lacks running water.
Yeah, you could take out still.
Or it continues to lack running water.
I mean, I think the still is in reference to 1902.
I
Yeah.
know,
That's how I read it.
still. Oh, come on, but still. I'm just
So
kidding.
I don't mind that at all. And then moving down, 3rd page, 3rd paragraph, starting however,
Third page, third paragraph.
yeah,
Okay.
in the middle. A paragraph starting however, despite its best will and intentions, with no running water and only a composting toilet, the library is limited.
I think that's very good. Okay, and then it's somewhere else, Brad?
And then it's also in the conclusion, the very last paragraph,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
the quote from Suzanne.
yes. Yeah,
so you think that, okay, so the fact that the lack of running water poses public challenges to public health is implicit in everything that's written.
yes.
Do we agree with that? Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. Who's Suzanne Palmer, a Hugo Award winner? What is a Hugo Award winner?
I didn't put that in. Kate put that in. Suzanne Palmer lives in town. She is my friend. And she came to town meeting and she stood up and spoke on behalf of the library. And she was really great because if you knew Suzanne, like I knew Suzanne, you would know what an amazing feat it was that she stood up and spoke on the town meeting floor. And she talked a lot about, you know, all the ways that the library has helped her connect to the community and all the great stuff the library does. And then she was quoted in the newspaper article.
What is
And
a
that's where that
What is
quote
a
came
Hugo Award winner? I don't know what
It's a
that
Oh,
is.
science
Hugo.
fiction
So she's
award.
a science fiction writer.
Oh,
A
okay.
Hugo is a science fiction award. She won a Hugo Award, about 5 years ago for,
Then can we say that?
we
Resident
don't have to
Hugo?
say that.
No? All right.
No,
I-
they know, they can, you
Stay
know,
humble.
sometimes people can look it up themselves
Yeah.
or, like, we don't have to add,
Right.
more. These are librarians, so they know.
Well, no, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Does anybody else have any more comments then? I think it looks pretty darn good.
I
Um,
might have some comments for you tomorrow, but
That's
I got
fine.
like 3 hours sleep. So
Okay.
I don't think
Yeah.
I should give any more comments on it tonight.
Okay.
I should get a good night's sleep and then take a fresh look at
Okay.
it.
Marianne, you had mentioned a place you wanted us to look at in
Yeah,
about
and
the
we did
library.
that. Well,
And I-
that was in the beginning. So it's
Yeah,
that
we did that.
section.
I mean,
And okay,
It all looks fine.
okay. I mean, we
I have
did add a
nothing to
comma.
change.
So it's that section. Let me find it. It's about the circulation.
About the 37 and 15%.
Yeah, where is that, Tim?
The middle of that paragraph about the
All right, so it's
library.
about the library. And so,
Yeah, I thought we
all
were
right,
done
so
with
we
that.
took out the 15% and then, so then total circulation for each of the past 5 years has been more than 3 times the size of the collection. And maybe Molly Moss will clarify that. And then, all right, so then this other one, compared to other libraries in the Commonwealth and our population group, circulation is high. In fiscal year 2020, Shutesbury circulation was the second highest. So I don't want to
We're
say
We're
in the
gonna add-
Commonwealth
You're
twice.
We're adding in the state.
Okay, but so we should say in the state, even though we said in the Commonwealth.
I
In
think
the
I
so.
sentence.
it just feels like it needs to be, the sentence needs to be
Okay.
finished.
I think it
Alrighty.
reads better.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
I think so
then I
too.
will add it. Okay. And I'm waiting, so the Board of Library Commissioners doesn't have the statewide data updated. So I've asked them, they have it up to 2018 and then COVID happened, so they don't have that data updated.
Mhm.
So I've asked them for the 2020 data. And if not, then I might, so the last year they have is 2018. And I don't want to, so anyway, I don't want to put it on there if it's 2018 because
Yeah.
who
yeah.
cares what
A lot
happened in
different,
2018?
right? It's a lot
Yeah,
lower.
really different. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Are there any
well,
more
so in
comments?
2018, our circulation was second highest. I don't know what it was in 2020 because
Right.
the state data isn't on the website yet, but they supposedly can look at that data. So I've asked them to, and
Okay.
I'll see if I get an answer. And if I don't get an answer, then I'll just put it with 2018, which is the last year that the data is available or something,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and they'll get
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments? Let's give a bravo to Marianne and all her helpers.
Well done, Marianne. Woo!
All
Very
right.
good.
So do we want to, we have like 15 more minutes. Do we want to talk about anything more about town meeting or just talk about the agenda for next time? Or is there anything you want to share with us about the timelines, just to refresh our memories about this grant?
So, so hopefully the select board will sign this tomorrow and then I'll send an electronic copy Wednesday morning and then I'll put a hard copy in the mail to them with the signatures. And then we we should expect a visit from them sometime in the first 2 weeks of July.
Okay,
And they'll want to meet with, you know, a library trustee or two. They'll want to meet with the town administrator, a finance committee member, and a select board member. So fortunately, let me think. Oh yeah, even with Eric, 2 of our select board members are retired. And 1, 2, 3 of our trustees are retired. And, you know, and Becky is around, and I think that it's possible that a finance committee member could be around, or 2, hopefully. You know, I want it to be people who, well, Susie Mosier is on the finance committee, and she's retired too. So, you know, so hopefully they'll be flexible with their timing. And then, and, you know, and they're only going to come out and visit if we're chosen to sort of take the next step in the process. So the next step in the process is they visit the libraries that they're interested in pursuing this with. And then they're, you know, they're willing to work with more than one library up until through the development of a building program. And then the other step that has to happen before September 30th is a site has to be chosen. And some work is being done on Lot 032, they're working on taking down that 3-bay garage and cleaning up some of the debris left over from previous uses. And
now, are we
then,
gonna go through this whole water thing again? Or whatever it
Oh,
was?
yeah.
You know what went on last time? Is that gonna be a problem?
well, so there was follow-up testing done the last time, and all of that testing showed, you know, showed acceptable levels of things from the DEP.
Okay, good.
And so, but the DEP did recommend that the debris be picked up and that building be taken down. So and the town budgeted money to do that way back then. And finally, there's some work being done
Okay.
now.
Okay, good.
Mary Ann, could you
Yeah.
clarify? It sounded like you said, if they decide to go the next step with us, in other words, this meeting, what is it? What's that step that you're talking about? Does somebody gets eliminated between now and when they do these meetings?
Well, no, so they're gonna
Wait a
get the
minute,
letters of
before you
intent,
go on with that, can you just tell me who's they?
the Board of
MBL
Library Commissioners,
MBLC.
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 So,
Thank you.
so based on the letter of intent, they will decide whether or not they're going to work with the town on the development of a building program. And the first step in that is coming out and doing site visits. And so they're going to visit the Spear Library. They're going to visit our potential construction sites, and they're going to talk to people in town to make sure that we have the financial resources to make this happen. So, you know, I don't think they're going to want to see the books, but they're going to want to know what we have in reserves, what our borrowing capacity is, and things like that. And so those are all things for our financial team, which is Becky and maybe the town treasurer and somebody from the finance committee and the select board. They're going to want to know, they're going to want to see support from the town. And that's why I wanted to do that warrant article, because that really showed support.
And also, Tim, there's two libraries that are going to be, quote, chosen as the possible candidate.
No, not 2.
How
So
many?
it depends on how many apply. And so, and they're not expecting a lot of applications. And I've only really heard of one other town that was considering applying.
Oh,
But there are 54 eligible towns, so it's quite possible that there's more than two. But there's so they're not really expecting a lot of applications, but if they got 5 applications, 5 of these letters of intent, and people met the criteria, they would have to have a long range plan on file. Oh, somebody remember long range plan, because we need to talk about that too.
All right.
They have to be certified. They have to be wanting to do new construction, not an addition renovation. They have to want to build a library and a library only, not a library museum, not a library senior center. So say if there were 5 towns that applied, that all could sort of make a case, our town's in good financial standing, we have community support, we have, we really need a library, we have a library staff and volunteers that can pull this off, then they might take all 5 of those towns and go through the process of selecting a site and developing a building program. And then then the final application is due December 3rd.
Okay.
And the other towns would have to have a special town meeting in the fall in order to do that vote that we just did. Our town meeting was late and I was ready. I knew we would need to do it and I knew what it needed to say. And I was able to get you guys to approve it and then get it on the select board agenda and get them to approve it to get it on the warrant on time. So it's like all of that takes sort of prior knowledge of how it works, so experience, and then having a late town meeting. So we had both of those in our favor. And so all of those things would have to happen, and then all of the towns that potentially put in applications December 3rd, and then somebody is chosen in January or February.
A question. It sounds like there is now some preliminary design work that will happen before they decide who is actually going to get the award.
I wouldn't say preliminary design work.
What about it sounded like we needed to select a site?
Yes, we have to
Why
have a
don't you
site.
explain what a building plan is, Marianne?
But
building
before you go there, let
program?
me finish my question.
Okay.
So,
Okay, because I
if
think
we
it's
have a
related.
site that we're talking about, who is choosing it? Earlier,
Us.
it sounded like this was a town process.
Yeah, we choose the site.
Okay,
And we'll talk more with them about that. Once they get our letter of intent and then we know how many letters of intent there were and things like that, then we'll talk with them more about that and what kind of things they want towns to do in that site selection process.
and
So,
does it have to
in
go
the
to
la-
town meeting? Does the town, who makes the decision for us?
Oh, I
About
would
the site?
say about the site, I
Mhm.
would say we do. The trustees do.
Okay,
Yeah, so we have the history of having already looked at a bunch of sites 11 years ago, however long ago it was. So some of them just aren't as feasible, but we did look at them. So
And
let's
I
document it.
got our architects actually did some images of a potential library, site situated behind town hall. And so we have pictures of what a library could look like on lot 032. And we have a geotechnical survey on lot 032. We have a perk test on lot 032. And we have some hazardous materials testing on lot 032. There's also town-owned land behind town hall. And we have some renderings from the from the architects from the last project. And I asked them to send me all of that. And it's got, like architectural drawings with elevations and all kinds of stuff. And they did send it all to me. So we've got that to look at.
so two
And-
sites.
Well, and so then I would say there's one potential other site. So lot 032 is 20 acres. And there's the end at Leverett Road, which we were considering before. And then there's also
The what at end of Leverett Road?
the end of the spot on Leverett Road where we were before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then it stretches all the way back and it goes out to Pelham Hill Road. And there's road access there. So it's this like long, narrow piece of property. So it's like a rectangle. It's a long rectangle. And there's also a potential building site at the other end. That would be accessed through Pelham Hill Road. And I think it's worth just sort of acknowledging that it's there and thinking about it.
So, so my
Yeah,
point
I
is
think before we didn't consider it because of it wasn't being that visible. I mean, visibility is a really important factor to MBLC, which is why the site behind Town Hall didn't work as well. It wasn't visible from the main road. Parking would be challenging there. I mean, there's lots of things to consider, but go ahead, Brad.
my point is just there's a decision to be made.
Right.
I mean, honestly, it sounds to me lot 302,
032.
032 is where we're going to go. But that's just the way things appear to me. I don't know enough to say that for sure. But I don't care so much about what my opinion is. I care that there's a decision that has to be made. And I just want to keep making that.
Yes,
clear.
there's a decision that has to be made by September 30th.
Yeah.
And we've needed to get through this step. And then once we get through this step, then I will talk to Lauren at the MBLC about what I should be doing so that we can really be, making informed site selection things. But, and you're right, Michelle, a library that's visible from the road on a main road is ideal. And, but there are reasons why that end of lot 032 may not be ideal. There are it does have a very high water table. So we were going to build there before. It is buildable, but it's not, it's not like it's some perfect site without issues. It was going to have a really expensive septic system because the water table was so high that the septic system was going to have to be this big raised thing.
Oh yeah, I've forgotten about that.
So, and then we don't really know a whole lot about the land behind Town Hall, but we might, so I might talk to Lauren and say, do we do a perk test? And, just see what kind of,
We didn't do that before?
not at Town Hall.
We didn't.
No,
Well,
we
anyway,
just
we
did-
have plenty of time to review.
We do have
all
plenty of
this.
time. We
Yeah.
have plenty of time to do
And there
these
is a lot
things.
of documentation from the
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah, there
Okay.
is.
Are there any
So-
other decisions like that? I mean, not property, but any other decisions that we have to make before the decision is made by MBLC?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I mean, we might want to say, oh, they offered to accept us into this program. Do we want to do it? But I mean, town meeting just did.
Yeah.
So, no,
Thank
I
you.
don't think so. I think the next decision is the site.
Okay.
And I just want to be, and I don't want to sound like I've sort of said like, oh, we're not doing lot 032 or we are doing behind the town hall or we're going to do this other end of lot 032. I just want us all to be aware that there are options,
Excellent.
Right,
Yeah.
and we looked at other options last time that were brought up by certain people in town that just weren't feasible.
Right. And
So,
since then,
yeah. Exactly.
So, okay, so can I just bring up, it's 8:32. Can I just want
Yeah.
to remind everybody that we are doing, on top of this, our long range plan expires at the end of September and we have to submit a new one October 1st or we're not eligible for this grant. So one of the things that I'm doing is these 3 community conversations and the first one is June 29th. So there are 3 of them. They're all just going to be on Zoom because that's all I felt like I could manage at the time. And Abby Strauss is going to facilitate them. And it would be great if you could make a point of participating and inviting other people to participate. Okay. And so so I'm not going to post the Zoom link publicly because a lot of libraries have had issues with Zoom bombing. But what I will do is about an hour before. So I'm asking people to register with me like they do for the programs, and then I'll send them the link.
Okay.
And then about an hour before, I will post the link on the website and on Nextdoor Shutesbury. But I'm not going to do it, until just before, because then the Zoom bombers don't have time to troll and find the link.
What time, Marianne? Is there
What
a
time?
Yeah.
6:30 on June 29th.
So
So
there's
the other-
there's two others. So who can come to that one? I have a conflict, but the others I'm more open to come. Can we find out who can come to the first one?
I can come to that.
Okay.
The Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
And then we need to
6:30?
schedule. We also need to schedule our next meeting.
Can
Right.
we just let you know, Marianne?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. If you could send me an email, that would be the
Okay.
best. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Oh, the other 2 dates by any chance, Marianne?
Yeah, I will find them right
I have
now.
my calendar right here too. So there's one on the 8th of July, 6:30 to 8. That's a Thursday. And then another one on a Monday, the 12th, same time, 6:30 to 8.
Of July?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, they're all right close together.
And how
Yeah.
about our next meeting on the 19th? Does that work?
Works
That's
for
just on
me.
my calendar.
Does that work for everybody else?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, what was the date?
The 19th.
The 19th.
I'm going to be away on vacation
Okay.
that day. I mean, that week,
Okay.
but that's okay.
Can everybody else make it? Yeah, we don't know about Kate, but
I can also do the 26th if that matters.
I can do either.
You know what? On the
I'm not picking
19th,
up-
I'm flying to Idaho.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
but
well,
I
then
could
we-
do the 26th.
Okay. Why don't we do that then?
26 it
Okay.
is.
So I will.
Okay.
It's a good thing I thought of that.
So will long range plan be on the agenda for that, or what else might be on the agenda? Approvals?
So that on the agenda for that will be elections of officers. And I don't think long range plan will be on the agenda. Maybe library director job description and what were we calling it? Compensation
So
discussion.
where are we at this point? Does there personnel committee even exist anymore?
Yes.
I've heard some
Yeah.
people have left, so
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk to April Stein, who's gonna be on the personnel
she's
committee.
going to be okay.
I had people come up to me at town meeting and ask me about my salary. So town meeting was already a very full day, and then talking about that just wasn't what I wanted to be doing. So anyway, but
Okay, well, it's good to
yeah.
hear that there's going to be some new people on the personnel
Yeah.
committee. Maybe this will move
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, I do think it will now. I
Good.
think it's
I have another
know.
question.
yeah.
So we had town meeting, and isn't that where we had the elections of trustees? Do we do anything to officially
Well,
recognize?
so then we have to have a chair or co-chairs and a treasurer and a secretary.
Those are
And
just
we
the
always
officers.
have
Just the
elections of
officers, yeah.
those.
Do we do
Ti-
Tim at the same time? Is he now official?
He's official July 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to go get sworn in, Tim. Do you know about that?
Okay.
And we
Thank you.
need to thank Michelle for all of her years of service with us. We're going to miss you.
And Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Welcome.
Congratulations.
I feel like I'm leaving it in good hands here.
Yeah,
Well,
and you're
retiring,
not
but you'll still
going
be around.
anywhere.
I'm
Yeah,
not
you'll still
going
be
anywhere.
around.
Exactly. I'm not going anywhere. I'll
So-
still be doing qigong.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I know. So, it's like,
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all. I'll get these out to you soon.
thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You were always
Bye,
so
everyone.
prompt, Michelle. That was well appreciated. Look at me, just finishing them today.
I know.
Oh, good job.
I
Thank
had
you
to do
so
it the
much.
day of or it doesn't get done. That's
Yeah,
kind of,
usually I'm too tired to like finish doing it in the
no,
evening. So,
I know. All righty. Thanks, everybody.
all
Bye-bye.
righty. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye. See you next time.
Okay.